Hi everyone. I just wanted to take this opportunity as you're getting ready to start your first final speech. I want to give you a good heads up on the way it's going to be graded. Your draft speeches that you did were just that. They were practice, and so the standards were a little lower, just looking for if things that kind of existed or not in the speech. You're going to notice in this final rubric that it's not just if the element is there, it's how good it is. So if you just do it, and it's just okay, you'll see you'll earn 2 points on that category. It has to be really good or exceptional, better, to receive full points on it. Or you can do it and it's weak and you'll just get 1. So I just want you to see the big difference here is rather than just it's there, it's not, the quality of it. So the bar is really being raised for these final speeches. You've had a chance to practice, you got good feedback from classmates, I've tried to give you feedback, and so hopefully that will help just to understand that. So I just want to go through it as well. There's a lot more categories than there was on the draft speeches. And some of them have been talked about in the class and some are a little new. And so I want to just make sure you're aware of them before you do your speech. So I'll just go through these quickly. This first one isn't that new, but it's using a attention-getting device. On this one, you definitely don't want to just have a quote or something unless it's really attention-grabbing. Do something that's just going to grab that audience right from the get-go. Get right into your speech. Obviously, clearly define purpose of your thesis statement. So what is the speech about? Established credibility. Most did a pretty good job on this one in your drafts, but this is just saying, why are you giving this speech? What's your authority? Do you have personal experience? What gives you some credibility to talk about this topic? So that'll be one of them. And the topic has relevance to the designated audience. So I had a few questions on this. I would say generally your audience is your classmates in this class. You'll have a live audience, but I think they're mostly there just to support you and give you a live feel to your speech. Don't feel like it has to apply 100% to your live audience. Think more about the classmates on that, but that'll be graded to see how relevant your topic is. This is one that I gave a lot of feedback on, which is previewing the remainder of the speech. So what that is at the beginning, within the introduction, you are saying, you lay out the whole plan of the speech. And you say, here are the 3 points that we'll be talking about. 1, 2, 3. So it's clearly there. Next up, transitions. So rather than just stopping one point and starting another point or going from your introduction into the body, you have great transitions that make it just flow nicely, but it's also still clear you're transitioning. So that's one area. The proof that you use, just the type of argument you might make or just to convince your audience of a position. Even on informative speech, you're trying to convince them of the information you're giving. So that'll be one area. This next one is the same one as you had before, but you're giving those 5 sources, and they're cited vocally in your speech. Okay, not just a bibliography, 5 that are well used and cited. And don't just cite them, say why this person's an authority or why this source is an authority. Next is anticipated and answered audience questions. So just think about, if you were listening to your speech, what remaining questions do you think they might have? And then seek to address those in the context of the speech. So at the end of the speech, people are like, yeah, I understand what it is. Obviously, organization, that it's easy to follow. It goes back to those 3 main points. If you anchor them on the main points, they'll be easy to say, okay, they previewed the 3 points. Now they're going through them. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. And in the conclusion, here they review them again. 1, 2, 3. Just so organized. Some people have a lot of great information in their draft speeches, but it was hard to follow any kind of organization to the information. So that'll be graded. Memorable and appropriate language. You want to sound intelligent, not stuffy, but you want to make sure that it's rich in the words that you choose to use, if that makes sense. Coming to the conclusion, we got the natural transition to the end of the speech. It's just another one of the transitions, going from the body into the conclusion. And it's kind of clear we're going into conclusion. Sometimes people are using the conclusion to make their last point, but that should be a summary time. Review the purpose, summarize what your thesis is again. Review those main points. We first talked about this, then this, then this. So your audience leaves with no doubt what those main points are. And then just making sure that there's a great closer, something that just really wraps it all up nicely. Sometimes it works best when someone ties it back in to the introduction. Next, you're going to be evaluated on the delivery, so eye contact during the speech. Now, when you were doing webcam, that meant you were looking into the webcam. However, when you have a live audience, it's making eye contact with your audience. And I can tell that watching from the camera, if you're looking at your notes or if you're looking at your audience, making that kind of eye contact. Vocal variety, volume, and pace. Some people had great information, but it was delivered in kind of a monotone way. And so you don't, that's going to turn audience off really quick to listening. So you want to make sure that it's natural, it's conversational, like you're having just this great informed conversation with them about it. Everything about your posture, your movement, confidence up there. Don't move too much. Some people, I think, get nervous and they kind of move around a lot. Movement's okay, but just not too much. Professional or appropriate attire. So if you're giving just a general speech, dress up. You will be kind of graded on the attire you bring to that live audience, so make sure you do that. Occasionally, some people have done a topic where they need to be in different types of clothing, and that's appropriate if it's specific to the topic. Otherwise, just professional. Dress is great on that. And stayed within the allotted time. This is something that's hard for a lot of people. Several drafts were way too short, and you're going to lose a lot of points if you don't stay within the time you were given, especially if it's short. If you go over, you'll lose some points as well. You've got a good range there, so I hope that's helpful. So you can see this is worth a lot of points, but this is why I'm doing this, is just to make sure that you know what you're going to be graded on. So after reviewing this, let me know any questions you have, so there's no surprises when you get graded on your final speech. Thanks.